we need more Polynesian Māori leaders, like standing up. And I know there is so much talent out there.
This podcast is proudly supported by the Ōtara Network Action Committee, ōNAC, community-owned, community-driven and community-led.
Kia ora once again and welcome back to the We Are Ōtara podcast, sponsored by ōNAC. I don't know if you've heard about them. Awesome group of people. They're the Ōtara Network Action Committee, ōNAC, community-owned, community-driven, community-led. Now, we had an amazing talk with Ruben Wiki. We talked about, pushing our bubbles and getting out of our comfort zone and not always relying on social media. So you'll enjoy this episode. Ruben Wiki, over to you. Go the Kiwis! Hey! You were mentioning that you're a Pearl boy.
Yeah, so Johnson's Road, we lived at the bottom of the cul-de-sac, by the creek. But we walked to, Mayfield Prime, which is where Pearl is.
Yeah, and how was that? How was it like growing up around that time period that you were growing up?
It is what it is, eh? Yeah. It's see all this, the mongrel mob and stormtroopers and stuff. But you just, as long as you don't bother them, they won't bother you. So just say, you go buy the bread, you sprint home. One of those ones.
Oh damn!
Yeah.
So. With you growing up, was it difficult for you growing up in there? Besides the gangs things, were there other factors there?
Oh, not really. It's because we didn't have any constraints back in those days.
Oh yeah.
We played outside until 9 o'clock at night when their mum would call us in. We had good neighbours, and we just played on the roads, played bull rush, all that stuff, like gutter ball. Yeah, OGs would know about the gutter ball and stuff like that. Well, cars coming, get off the roads. But we made our own fun. There was no phones, there was no TVs. Oh, we had a TV, but it was a fish tank in there.
Yeah.
So we're just looking at fish. But Mum raised 3 kids on her own. Mum and Dad split when I was like 3.
Yeah.
And so she was a bit of a gypsy. She was moving from place to place. So we started in Kingsland, moved to Ōtara, went to Mayfield, did all my schooling, left school at 15. Went to work.
Oh, yeah. Where did you work? You mind asking?
Just in Mount Wellington, just lifting steel. Hence the muscles.
Yeah. I was just looking at me. I was like, man.
But no transport, so I would run everywhere. So,
damn.
My mates lived in Mangere. I would run to my mates.
So what would you do out in Mangere?
Just hang out.
Yeah,
just hang out with my mates. So I still keep in touch with my footy mates like back in the days.
Oh, nice.
Even my neighbours.
Oh,
yeah.
What were your thoughts in terms of like career-wise, besides going into the steel mill? Were there other things that you wanted to do in your young age that you thought wanted to do?
Mum took me down to Ōtara Scorpions when I was like 5.
Oh, yeah.
And just have a go at this game. And I didn't mind it. So I kind of really enjoyed the game, and then I started going by myself. Like in those days, you could walk by yourself and take your boots on your shoulders and tie to the laces, and then walk to the fields. And we had some neighbours that I met or that I caught up with a couple of years ago. So I'm 49, and this is 44 years ago. The grandfather still remembers me going to training, and they can't get their head around, who's that Ōtara boy that's used to walk to training? No, he's done all this. So dreams do come true if you pursue it and have a bit of luck and stay the path, instead of going the other path.
Absolutely.
So there's always those temptations too,
Absolutely. First and foremost, before I go into my next part of things, you're 49?
Yeah, 49, 50 in Jan.
You don't look 49.
See, someone moisturiser, mate.
Oh, bro.
I might have Italian in me, I think. I've got a cousin in Sardinia. Does it help?
Oh, that might work, man.
Yeah, let's go.
Shucks.
Claim.
That's that Mediterranean looks, eh?
That's it.
So, you mean like we'll go back into it. We'll go back into you doing the steel mills. How long did you do that for?
A few years. So I was straight out of school. I was 16. I worked with mum for a little bit. Then went on my own 2 feet and found a job. So I was getting paid some good money for lifting steel. So I was pretty young to have a full-time job like that. But I was playing for Ōtara Leopards in my late teens. So from 5 years old to 10, I played for the Scorps. Had a little sabbatical. Went back to footy about 13. Yeah. Played for Ōtara, but we were like training out of Ōtara on Hills Road.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So Ōtara didn't have their own grounds yet.
No, they do, but our team were predominantly Ōtara boys.
Okay.
So we just trained from Hills Road. Yeah.
And
Primary Park.
Gee.
Yo.
So with all the Leopards training and all your ongoing work, what decided to stick with the code, especially like league?
Played roller mills at school.
Yeah.
Rugby. Didn't like it. You get tackled and you got to let the ball go. I said, man, you tackle someone, you got to let them go. I said, nah, stop this. I'll try league.
Yeah.
So just stayed with league and enjoyed my time with the brotherhoods, the mateships I connected with back in those days, and still mates with them now, and which is very important. As you know, being around the world and come back to the roots, and still they keep you grounded. You know, mock you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, then let's go, run a street. All those ones.
Yeah. So, because the reason why I asked about this is that, you know, we might have young viewers who are just adamant to become who they needed to be, but they still have that big question mark hovering over their heads. And to look at someone like yourself, Ruben Wiki, who's not only come from Ōtara, who's also been around the world, most importantly has done what he wanted to do. What would certain aspects or tools does the young Ōtari need in order to get up there that you think is important for them?
They need to get out of their comfort zone. Like we, as Polynesian Māoris, like we'll just do enough. If you notice, like social media, there's a lot of Europeans, and we need more Polynesian Māori leaders, like standing up. And I know there is so much talent out there. They just got to believe in themselves, you know, and back themselves, you know. And it might not work, and it might work. So it's taking that chance on themselves as to see how far they can go, you know, push the boundaries. And, you know, sacrifice is going to be needed. You know, do I go to this party or do I just stay home and have a sleep so I can play my galonga the next day? You know? So it's just taking a gamble on themselves, how much they really want it, you know. And I thought, you know, rugby league, well, this might be an opportunity. And it took a long time to get into some rep jerseys, but I just persevered and trained on my own. Didn't need any noise to motivate myself, you know. So I used all the stuff in the past that my mum went through, which is pretty crap, and I used that as fuel to get me through, so I could support her later on.
How is it? What is it that you do in terms of to get rid of that sort of noise? And what I mean by noise is that I picture myself as a young person who's wanting to go into league or go into any profession. And there's always going to be people around them that are going, you can't do this. What is your ways of trying to shut that noise down to make you focus on what you need to do?
Yeah, just push them out of the bubble. They don't need to be in there. If they're going to be negative, there's no use having them around. I know they want that, but they know you or I've got it, but they're just jealous. So they kind of just bring you down with some negative thoughts, so you won't pursue it and you stay on their level, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So people like that, you just have to push them out, which is hard, but real friends kind of, you know, or family, they stick like side by side by you, you know.
And it's good to hear this because currently our young generation is, what I feel when I see it is that they don't have much of an option when they do. they tend to think before they tend to do before they think, and, and they don't have that guidance. Like you mentioned before, you basically had taken what your situation that your mum went through, and you channeled that into something that you strive from. Now, once again, I'm just decentralizing and going back to our kids, because it's what's currently happening at the moment. With all that channeling, what do you see in terms of our future of our kids? What is it that you want to see in the near future for our Otarian kids?
For our future leaders of tomorrow, it's more, don't believe the bullshit that's on like social media. They have access to so much negativity, like phones, like being in gangs, and these gangs, it's quick money. You get money handed to you for doing some stuff that's not legal, kind of thing. All the ram raids and stuff like that. There's quick fixes, man. So they do that. They get paid for it. So it's choosing it's choosing what they want to do, and not being peer pressured to do what those older people are telling them to do. Because it makes quick money. We running a business, it's hard work. You got to go through all the hurdles, and it's just like professional sports. It's hard work, and to stay in it for so long, you got to work at it and not get comfortable. So having the nice network of friends and family that will keep you grounded, that you can ask for their honest opinion, instead of like blowing smoke up your mully, So it's just getting that balance right. And like, as I said, this generation now have too much access to all negative stuff, because they believe the hype stuff they see on TikTok or YouTube and all that. Yeah, they believe that and they want to follow it. So if they see all the stuff overseas with ram raids and whatever, and the clothing lines, they're going to try and do the same. But
it goes back to when you were a kid, right? You tend to follow what the big kid did or what the parents do. And it's the impression that you always get from what you see is like, oh, my brother's in a gang. He's getting easy money. But my mum is, or my dad, or my other brother who's working is struggling hard. Why is it that this way is way easier to do than the other way? And why? But that's the honest way of doing things.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, because everyone's out there to survive, right? And support their family. Whether you gang or whatever you're doing, they're doing what they can to survive. And it's we've just been through a pandemic, 2 years. And survival mode is on at the moment. So we're trying to thrive. Everyone's trying to thrive to make ends meet. So don't get me wrong with that, because, everyone has families. Gang members have families. We have families. And if it's come to doing what they have to do, it's a hard one, but it's something that's going to feed their family,
Absolutely. And then flipping it on the other side, which is the people that are in the support group, that circle, the outside ring. So your adults and your mentors, what advice could you give to them to help those who are in need? Because I see myself as not as a mentor, but more of a friend, and I do have those who struggle within themselves. What sort of advice that you could give to me in terms of picking them up from where they are?
I think the honesty is a really good one, because the friends can say so much, but having a mentor can get right to the nitty gritty stuff and get them. Don't take it personal. Just try and make you a better person and steer you in the right direction. So it's just getting that fine line of being a friend and a mentor, So it's probably like us at our gym. We're trainers. They're our clients. We're trying to make them better. Trying to take the stress away from their jobs by working out with exercise, but still having that care factor. So the wife and I, who's from Tangaroa, just saying.
Hey.
I know you want that. So the wife and I, we started this journey back in 2008 when I retired. and from a garage, just trying to help people, you know. And it's kind of it's got a bit crazy, and now we've got a building just around the corner. So we've been operating for 3 years through the pandemic via Zoom, and just making sure they're okay, and their well-being was on point just by doing some exercising and staying connected through that whole procedure, you know. So we did everything we could to make sure they're okay. Because if their minds and their well-being is on point, then they're going to be like way better for their bubble through this. Because you're sitting at home, you can't do anything, right? Yeah. You can't go out. So, and that saves, you know, any signs of domestic violence, and you know, which leads to other stuff. And that's something we're trying to knock out of the park around the south anyway.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. During the first year to second year, I was at home doing a lot of work, and for the time being, I was thinking to myself, well, it's nice being at home because then you get to talk to mum and whatnot, but it does take a toll on your mind because negative, like you mentioned, negativity does get to you, and then the whole mental health thing gets into it. And so I got to the point where I just felt myself burned out.
Yeah.
You know, and I bet you a lot of our people who are at that time, at that stage, were feeling a lot of burnout because they wanted to do something that would not only help themselves but help their families in that situation.
Yeah,
you know?
It's tough. And like I was talking before to Will about creating a safe space for men to speak up. So my cousin and I, my cousin owns a barbershop just in Botany there, and just over a haircut, we just started chatting, and I said, how about we create a space, you know, and bring men together to unleash whatever's on their mind. So we're 16 weeks deep, every Tuesday at 7:30 on 2 Hayman Street. So doors are open to anybody that want to come in. We're not professionals. We just have life lessons, and we're not going to solve all the problems, but we have about 20 plus men come in and just share what they want to share. You don't have to speak; you can just listen. There's all different topics that pop up, and it's pretty surreal. Then we have a cry, we have a laugh. It just helps them get through the week, you know, because as men we have to provide for our house, you know. So there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of tension on being the man of the house, you know. So, and I think in some other situation, the woman is the number one breeder in the house. So how's that feel to a man, right? So yeah, we just try and help solve those problems and just have somewhere for them to express without being judged, and hug it out and have a feed and maybe a few lazy kava lattes, you know. But it just helps them get through the week, and then any more problems pop up, and we speak about the next week.
Yeah, going back to like even the first time we met, you know, I already mentioned to you, they're like, oh my God, you're Ruben Wiki.
Yeah, that's
you know.
Yeah.
But then just having this talk right now, it peels layers.
Yes.
And
yes.
that's what's all about about talking, is just peeling those layers back, and being able to get to the core of that person.
Yeah.
And just talking to you for this long, I see how very genuine and very very beautiful that you are.
Yeah.
And I just want to let you know that in the core, that you're a very strong individual.
Probably related.
Hey.
You never know. Hey. You never know, mate, because you know my villages in Samoa is Fusi Saputulawhai and Mangiangi. So that's my mob.
Oh, I better write that down so I can remember that. Well, remember those 2 villages so I can ask my mum.
Yeah. You just say Stowers and that's it. It's all over.
Hey.
Nah, but it's all about, you know, remember where you come from.
Yeah.
doesn't matter how far you get, like in the professional side of things. I could probably mention another gentleman that's in the same probably realm as Kevin Mialam.
Yeah.
So he's the same. When you get to meet Kevin, it'll be the same reaction. I mean, like a legendary All Black, but as you talk about the layers, same.
And that's what I feel about us, just men in general, or just people in general, is that you get to meet a person by who they are, but at first you get to know them by what you see.
Yeah,
and then once you talk and break down all the barriers that are in front of you, you get to know that person straight away.
Absolutely.
And it's not an easy process, because then within their own process you have to work with them, because that means that I'm going to try and get to you, but I want to let you know that we're going to be talking to each other. I hope you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, all good.
And it's hard for some men, especially Pacific Islanders,
Well, we're trying to break those barriers down, because I was a white ribbon. I was the first white ribbon ambassador a long time ago, speaking out against violence towards women and children, and the reason behind that was to share my story, what my mum went through, and this is sharing this around New Zealand to ex-gang members and stuff like that. So it was a tough one, but I asked my mum if I could do this, because what she went through was once warrior stuff that you wouldn't wish on any female, So what she did, it was tough. Like I was only 10, and hearing that in the next room, I shouldn't have heard that stuff, and trying to protect my siblings. That was the turning point for me to do something, like make a difference. So, and it's still real tender to this day, and we always talk about it. And I think the best medicine for this, for my mum and I, and my siblings, is to talk about it. It's the only way. And the way I spoke about it was worldwide, like across the country, and trying to just change one person out of 10, their mindset around how they treat women and children. Yeah. We discipline our kids, and when they were younger and stuff, just, getting the full name once, Denzel James Wiki, and it's, but they know it's what they're doing is wrong. So, but it's to a point that it's communication breakdowns back in those days, but now it's open at Lalau, like Talanoa, and just talking. Like my kids are 24 and 21, and we're open about everything. Yeah.
I like to share with you my late great father. My father was like that in the beginning. He would get angry. He would lash out. But over time, when he had me, realized that this is not going to work. Yeah. Over 4 generations, so 2 brothers, 2 sisters, the way that he acted around them wasn't right, and sadly he didn't have that sort of like support groups and whatnot, because it was old school, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then my father, who grew up to basically put his whole heart and love into when I was growing up, just basically had the 360, and then realized mom's there to support her, support you, pretty much, and the kids are there to support you, and we love him to death. So he slowly became as understanding as he needed to be.
Changed it.
Yeah.
Changed it.
Absolutely.
Just needed that change, eh? Yeah. More amore. My man.
So I take that lesson from my dad, and I take my lessons from my mum and my brothers and sisters, and hopefully one day, especially I'll take your lesson from this episode, and hopefully one day I can be able to educate those who are watching this podcast and make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I didn't have any father figures when I was growing up, so I was nurtured by a lot of women. My mother, my aunties, my coaches, they're all females. my grandmothers, you know, it's just the way it was, you know. And when I got a little bit older, the coaches at the professional level took a little bit from each of them, how they coached, and molded me into who I am today with that nurturing side of things, and plus like from these men that I respect, you know. So yeah, so my wife's still waiting for an argument. Play tangaroa.
I will give you a piece of advice: do not argue with a tangaroa student,
especially as a prefect too. That's quite.
Sadly, come to an end.
Oh, we finished already, mate?
Yeah. Like all good things that come to people, and they come into most vital times in their lives. Could you give us a quote or something that you've heard in your life that's inspired you to share to our listeners?
Yeah, there's a couple. As I mentioned before, I'm on my journey with Ngāngana Samoa. So one of them was ele tū whaamaunga se tangata. No man or woman stand alone like an island. And the other one is from the Mad Butcher himself.
Hey.
The best gift you can give anyone is your time.
And that's beautiful, man. And you've given us our your time to us, and we're going to value that and treasure it as long as we are here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mame.